yesterday I talked about a coronial case of which you may know nothing. Two suppression cases. One where the police got it completely and categorically wrong, released a press release saying that it arrested people, and then immediately went to the High Court and said, oh my God, can we stop all this, and tried to suppress that information that they had already publicly released. And I discussed it with my wife, who's not a great newsreader, last night. She said, oh yeah, that one, I know that one, I also read it myself. And I went, my God, if my wife's read it, the whole of New Zealand's read it. So that's the end of that story. You know, that is trying to sort of like say, speed arrow, get back in my quiver. It's not going to happen, particularly with social media these days. And the other suppression order was, if you remember, to do with a 17-month-old boy who was murdered by his stepfather. I use those words, you know, particularly the word father. I'm not even sure I should even put that in the same context, because there are many good and great stepfathers out there. I have to say, this wasn't one of them. And that the coronial inquiry, 7 years, no, 9 years, no, it's just come out, this is in Invercargill, and to suggest that Oranga Tamariki hadn't done their job properly, all right? And had, in actual fact, lied to a judge who gave bail to a violent man with a criminal past, and in actual fact put him into the environment where he killed a 17-month-old boy, not his own. Now, can I also say that man then topped himself in prison, and he will burn in hell, that asshole, I hope, for the rest of his life. There are people I would bring back the death penalty for, and child murderers are top of my list. You know, I don't, not treasonous individuals, not people who commit sedition, not even people who murder adults, you know, and multiple adults. Top of my list will always be child murderers. They are people who, as far as I'm concerned, and I don't get a rat's ass whether they're mentally ill or not, they deserve to burn in hell, and they should be off this globe as quickly as you apprehend them. So the man who murdered that little 17-month-old boy in the Southland, on the West Coast, he should be dead. And he did top himself, and thank God for that. And he, no, he can burn in hell for the rest of his life, along with Lauren Dickerson, for that matter. All right, so not there yet, but she will be. The reality is, though, a second case now overnight has come to our attention. And that second case is, again, a case where a child, youth and family, Oranga Tamariki, and their particular aims, or their particular, their particular views or actions have been criticised by a coroner. We all know of the 17-month-old Southland boy who was found dead in his cot. Police charged the partner of the boy's mother, this is the one I'm talking about, 3 days later, and he died in the Otago Corrections Facility in Milton, a suspected suicide, very much later. Now, he was initially refused bail because his risk of offending was too high, and that's when Oranga Tamariki got involved. No, there's another one. And this time it is front page of the New Zealand Herald. Every one of these should be front page of the New Zealand Herald and all other mainstream media they occur. And this is where a coroner has slammed the same child welfare agency after another violent death of another toddler in this country, Leah Hutchison, who was shaken to death by his father, note no name suppression here, after having had his leg broken weeks before, and continual suspected abuse reported by a variety of individuals. The Child Welfare Agency didn't get involved, and that little boy was killed, violently shaken to death by his father. And the coroner in this particular case, Leah Dunn, held an inquest last year to ascertain the role of multiple agencies, multiple government agencies, involved in the care and protection of Leith, the little boy, prior to his death, and whether that care was that care and protection was adequate and appropriate, and unsurprisingly reached exactly the opposite conclusion. She slammed Oranga Tamariki for a lack of direction and control. She slammed them for a lack of leadership. She slammed them for the inadequate responses and their overall failure of care, how they'd made flawed decisions, how they had errors of judgment right throughout the file, and that they had assigned a new and inexperienced social worker to work on his case who was just not up to the task. Now that goes back again to April 2015. Incredibly, 9 years later, in exactly the same case as the Southland toddler, 9 years later, we are finding a coronial inquiry into these failures of a state agency. Now, there are two things that immediately come out of this. Why, 9 years later, do the results of coronial investigations into the death of children in this country suddenly appear in our news media? Because the answer to that question is, it's taken that effing long for the process to work. All right? And the second thing is the multiple failures, and no one held to account for them, that led to the death of our most vulnerable citizens in New Zealand, and that is our children, and particularly those children under the age of 5. After 11 o'clock, I'm going to be talking to a lady called Debbie McCauley. Now, Debbie McCauley is an unusual cove. She really is. Because she's actually put together a list from as many public sources that she can of all of the children who have met non-accidental deaths in this country. In other words, who've been killed by their nearest and dearest. She's put together a list. She's gone back, incredibly, to the 19th century. And she started it, and the last one she's got on that list is the little boy Mustafa something in the King Country, murdered clearly by his father, and now incredibly has name suppression after we know who it was. I mean, honestly, the courts are so stupid in this country. And name suppression now used by the courts as a way of protecting villains and the evil. Why is our criminal justice system protecting evil people? Can you explain that to me, please? Please, please, please. 0800 33 22 83. Why? And to the point now where that little Southland boy that I talked about, the one who, you know, Oranga Tamariki lied about his background and therefore put him into his mother's home, and he then killed the little boy, the 17-month-old. His name is still suppressed. He topped himself 9 years ago. The little boy who died 9 years ago, he'd be 10 now, 10, 11 years of age now, his name is still suppressed. His whānau, his family, can't actually even talk about him because, and about the circumstances there, because there's a suppression order from a New Zealand dickhead judge. This isn't justice. When you hide evil, when you hide evildoers from actually being identified for the crimes that they have committed, manifest and obvious, and the enormous damage and death that they have created, then we have a criminal justice system that has not only failed, but is sabotaging and betraying us as a society as well. It isn't protecting our vulnerable. It isn't looking after those who can't look after themselves. It is aiding and abetting incompetence and evil. The incompetence of Oranga Tamariki, and not one individual being named or shamed or in any way held accountable for their appalling actions that led to the death of children in this country. And on the second, a criminal, that you're also protecting the perpetrator by not naming them, and then you are making victims of the entire family because they can't even talk publicly about the child that they have lost to the evil of somebody who isn't blood and wasn't a part of their family. It's an extraordinary state of events in this country where our criminal justice system on a daily basis, I'm not even talking on a monthly basis, I'm not even talking as an exception, but on a daily basis in this country, sabotages sense and also takes away from us a sense that we've got a criminal justice system that is looking after us. It isn't looking after us. If we are victims, it ignores us from the moment that we report the crime and says, oh, you're on your own. Tough. In actual fact, it tries to silence us if there is somebody who appears in front of the court for the evil deeds that they have done to us or others. This is New Zealand 2024. This is a justice system that is no longer just. This is a state system with its orangatamariki and its welfare agencies designed expressly to protect children and the vulnerable, who on a routine basis not only get it wrong in terms of decisions made, but no one has ever held accountable. You know, we travel, I don't know, if you might just go and drink and drive tonight. You might go and drink and drive. You hurt nobody. You get pulled over. You get breathalyzed. You haven't hurt anybody yet. You're just over the limit, and you'll end up in a court, and you'll have your name published, your occupation, your age, and it'll be somewhere in a newspaper, local newspaper, and you'll be named and shamed. You haven't harmed anybody. Potentially, I suppose you could have. But the point is, you're held to account for that. Compare and contrast if you killed somebody in this country at the moment. Particularly a small child. How long would it be before any of the agencies actually discovered you, if they did at all? It's appalling the double standards this country has maintained for too long, aided and abetted by government agencies, public sector servants, judges, and all of the criminal justice system that supports those judges. I'm over it. I'm over it big time. And so after 11 o'clock, the dead kids of New Zealand will have somebody to speak for them, because for God's sake, nobody else is. Nobody cares, nobody shares, nobody actually commemorates them. Nobody says this is important. Nobody holds New Zealand and its public institutions to account for the deaths that happen on a regular basis in this country of our most vulnerable, of our most precious, and of our most loved. Those are my thoughts this morning.